Hello, friends. If you're new here, welcome. I'm a piano professor, educator, and a mom raising a teenage son in a rapidly changing digital world. On this channel, I share reflections about parenting, education, music, faith, and the quiet work of shaping both our children's hearts and our own. Today, I want to talk about why I no longer believe music education is simply an optional extracurricular activity. I believe it has become something much deeper, even necessary, for helping our children remain attentive, grounded, and fully human in the digital age. So wherever you are, driving, folding laundry, taking a walk, or simply resting for a moment, thank you for spending this time with me. If we walk into almost any 4th or 5th grade classroom today, the first thing we notice is the quiet blue glow of screens. Many children are handed personal iPads at school around this age. Schools proudly describe themselves as digitally advanced, and I completely understand why. Technology can be useful. It can be very efficient. But sometimes I find myself asking a question. Why do we assume children who are still learning self-control, self-regulation, are ready to carry devices designed by some of the world's smartest engineers to keep them endlessly engaged? You know, I'll be the first to admit, I've been there too. I gave my son screens before he was even 2 years old. Back then, baby Einstein was the thing every exhausted parent seemed to trust, and I was one of them. I thought educational screens were harmless. If I had understood then what constant stimulation could do to a child's developing attention span, I would have been far more cautious. I am not saying we need to go completely cold turkey, completely screen-free. That is not what I'm saying. But perhaps we need to pause and think more carefully before handing children devices that compete for their attention every waking moment. In his book, The Anxious Generation, social psychologist Jonathan Haidt points out a fascinating paradox. We have become increasingly overprotective of children in the physical world while leaving them almost entirely unprotected in the virtual one. Even though many of the greatest dangers to their mental and emotional well-being now exist there, and we can see the effects everywhere. Attention spans are shrinking. Silence feels uncomfortable. Many children are losing the ability to remain with one difficult task for an extended period of time. Their minds are constantly pulled in fragments, notifications, short videos, instant entertainment, endless scrolling. And this is precisely why I've come to believe that music education is no longer simply a nice extracurricular activity. Learning an instrument has become a developmental necessity. Think about exercise. Generations ago, people moved naturally throughout the day. Today, most of us sit for hours. Exercise is no longer optional for physical health. It is necessary because our environment changed. I believe music has become something similar for the human mind. Music is exercise for the distracted brain. It trains attention. It develops patience. It teaches children how to remain present. It strengthens their ability to tolerate frustration without immediately escaping it. I often hear parents say, "But my child just is not musical." You know what? But we don't approach nutrition that way. We don't wait for children to become passionate about vegetables before feeding them healthy food. We find creative ways to nourish them because we know their bodies depend on it. In many ways, Music is nourishment for the soul. As parents, we are the architects of our children's environment. And today, their attention is under constant assault. The digital world is competing aggressively for their minds, and often it is winning. So we must become intentional. And we can begin simply. We can fill our homes with beautiful music. We can take our children to local concerts, community orchestra performances, church concerts, student recitals. Almost every community has accessible opportunities if we start looking for them. But we should not simply drop children into these experiences and expect them to understand beauty immediately. We can prepare them for it. Play the music in the car beforehand. Tell them stories about the instruments. Help them listen for the grumpy cello or the heroic trumpet. Give them something to notice. Children engage much more deeply when wonder is attached to their experience. When my son began piano lessons at age 3, my first request to his teacher was very simple. I just don't want him to dislike the piano. That was my goal. Not perfection, not competition, not becoming the next Mozart. I simply wanted him to develop a relationship with something slow, beautiful, and real. Because music gives children something the digital world cannot. You cannot swipe your way to a beautiful tone. You cannot instantly download musical maturity. To grow as a musician, a child must learn to sit with frustration, to repeat difficult passages, to wait for growth that comes gradually and almost invisibly over time. And perhaps that is one of the greatest gifts music offers our children today, the ability to endure slow growth. Even neurologically, learning an instrument shapes the brain in powerful ways. Playing music requires the eyes, ears, memory, emotions, and hands to work together simultaneously. It strengthens communication between different parts of the brain and develops skill connected to focus, problem solving, emotional regulation, and resilience. And as children begin this journey, I think choosing the right teacher also matters deeply. The prestigious resume does not automatically mean that they're the best teachers. Personality matters, philosophy matters, relationship matters. Parents should feel free to ask for trial lessons, and we should not feel guilty if we realize a teacher is not the right match. We know our children best. The beautiful thing is that we do not need to be professional musicians to open this door for our children. By simply introducing them to an instrument, we're offering them something grounded and human in an increasingly virtual world. We are helping them reclaim their attention, their patience, their imagination, their ability to listen, their capacity to wonder, one note at a time. And perhaps in the process, we may slowly recover some of those things ourselves too. If this reflection encouraged you, I'll be so grateful if you subscribed or shared it with another parent, teacher, or friend who may need it. Thank you again for being here. Take care, and I'll see you in the next quiet time.